welcome back to JKTV. I'm Nick Troutman, this is my co-anchor here, Donye Yaxon, and we're bringing you episode 4. Sitting here on the banks of the Ottawa River. A little chilly today, but not too bad, surfing some bus heater action this afternoon. Donye, what are we gonna see this episode?
Well, this episode we got the first descent of the Yosemite Creek with Ben Stookesberry. That looked like a good trip.
Yeah, some cool drops in there.
For sure. We also got how to Boof. If you're somebody like Joel, had to learn that yet? Good video for you. We also got the competition update from Alabama Mountain Game. That was a fun event. We also got the Sperry Son-R shoes gear review. Good shoes, I like them.
And shot of the month. We're gonna check out the best shot this month. And team spotlight here with Heather Herbeck. So check out what she's got to say.
Yeah.
So you stay classy, interweb. Hope you like this episode.
Thanks for stopping by.
Well, this is the takeout. Beautiful Wapama Falls, the second highest in California. The end of the line for our Falls Creek descent. Now, all that's left is a 3,000-foot down climb, hike out another 3 miles along the reservoir, and avoid detection by Yosemite Rangers. How did first descents in California get so difficult? By the end of the 1980s, the vast majority of Class 5 whitewater in California had been explored and documented by Lars Hrbek and Chuck Stanley. The Upper McCallum River is a prime example of Hrbek and Stanley's contribution to our sport, and one can only imagine the mind-blowing experience of the first descent of a run they would later dub Fantasy Falls. The river drops 3,400 feet in 20 miles, and depending on the flow, almost everything on the river has been run with varying degrees of success. This year, Chris Korbulik and I spent a week on the river, running it 4 times and accomplishing our goal of a 1-day descent, completing the river in just 7 hours.
Good. It's a lot of water in here though, that's for sure.
But the ultimate experience in California kayaking is still a first descent. However, 30 years after Lars and Chuck's first descent gold rush began, the pickings are not only slim, they are guarded by some of the largest roadless areas in the lower 48, and helicopter access is not an option. So during prime runoff of 2011, I went hiking. Yosemite is a great place to go looking for first descents because kayaking is notoriously prohibited and the rivers are generally considered too steep. After 3 days of hiking, I found it. A blue trace on a map morphed into a granite moonscape before my eyes. A 10-mile hike in, make the last eddy above a 2,000-foot falls, don't get arrested on Hetch Hetchy, seemed perfect.
The biggest problem is this. That sun will eat you alive on the side of that cliff when we're going up 3,600 vertical feet.
Now who could I convince to go with me besides Chris?
I think it's gonna be good.
Forrest Noble and Jared Johnson just happened to be in the park, and as seasoned climbers, in addition to Class 5 kayakers, they are not totally opposed to bending park rules.
Don't ever listen to Ben Stookesberry. He's a bad influence on you.
Stay at home.
Stay at home. When Ben calls, just say no.
Armed with a copy of the murky regulations that allow wilderness lake kayaking in the park, the first attempt at Falls Creek was on.
This actually looks kind of meaner than the start to Upper Cherry. What if we could duplicate that?
This will be so sick.
All right, we got the Stookesberry Gorge coming up. Nothing but trouble, Stookesberry, that guy.
What's the deal? What are we?
We'll call it the BS Gorge. Not bullshit, the Ben Stookesberry Gorge. You like that name?
Yeah, that's nice.
I like that. BS Gorge. We don't know what's in there, but it's got to be good.
Oh, right there. You want to run it?
I mean, it's worth looking at, but I think it's pretty dodgy. And it's super like chunk right at the bottom of this slide above that big rock. Just like, I think it's like separate rocks that have flown down in there. And they're nasty. Are we in the right place?
That's sick. 300 right now. If it dropped down to like 100.
Yeah.
High on adrenaline from the river so far, anything seemed possible. But the campfire burns too fast, and the morning gets on top of you before you've really had a chance to consider what you're up against.
So the boof is a stroke that you take at the lip of the drop in order to keep your bow nice and high, the boat horizontal, so that when you land, the boat keeps carrying its speed throughout the hole. So there's three main things to a boof stroke. Number one is the speed. You want to be coming in fast, paddling in hard towards the drop. Number two is the actual boof stroke. You want to put your paddle nice and vertical at the very lip of the drop. You want to take that stroke as you thrust your hips forward. And number three is the landing stroke. You want to land with your body nice and forward on a very hard stroke to pull you away from the drop. One thing I like to do when I'm boofing is putting my boat on edge a slight little bit as you're coming into the drop. Then when you take that stroke, it actually makes it a lot easier to pull your bow up. That is because you shorten that rocker profile, and then it's a lot easier to shoot all the way up. So there's many things you can do to practice your boof. Number one, I would say, start on the flat water. You can grab your paddle, put that stroke nice and vertical, pull your knees up to your chest, and practice getting your bow up in the air. Once you can do that, you can move into eddy lines. Every time you go into the eddy, you can pull your bow up onto the flat water. You can also do that on rocks. You can pull your bow up onto the rocks, kind of like a splat. Once you got that dialed, you can move into smaller drops. You can practice it over and over again, and then you can say you can boof.
was just up there judging the Hug Fest. Everyone did great, looked real good, saw some real sick stuff.
Somebody
sounds like hell from the bottom to the top. And wouldn't it be better if we all just gave up? It'd probably just be better if we all just gave up. So give up all you trying to prove, 'cause time's you're only moving. All you ever tried to do is take me with you. If you take, then you take, all the good will fade away. I know the ticking of the clock won't stop, and a man can't walk as far as they all tell us, and the spirits and the wind and the bullshit that sinks into the hearts and the minds of a fragile humankind. And if your fights can't be walked off, and if your mind can be retaught, what doesn't make you strong will kill you if you let it. What doesn't make you strong will kill you if you let it. So give up all you're trying to prove, 'cause time's you're only moving. All you ever tried to do is take me with you. If you take, and you take, all the good will fade away.
Your generation is distinguished by indifference, an inability to get emotionally involved in anything. And again, we are the generation of the third eye. The eye of self-consciousness, the eye of self-criticism. The characteristic fear of our generation is our horror of finding ourselves ludicrous.
But the younger brothers of this indifferent, self-criticizing generation rebelled and retreated.
If you take, and you take, all the good will fade away.
Hey folks, today for the gear review, we're going to talk about the Sperry Topsider Son-R shoes. They're amazing. I've been using them for about a year now, and it's really awesome. I haven't found a better shoe yet. One main thing is that they're just super comfortable. They have a bunch of different shapes for the top, between better, more fit, higher up. Just all in all, they're really comfortable shoes. And the grip, it's the Son-R grip. Super grippy, perfect for dirt, rocks, whatever surface you're walking on. With the Son-R technology, you don't have to really focus on, you don't have to scout where you're stepping. You can just focus on walking forward and looking around and walking up the hill or wherever you're walking. I love the shoes. I can use them for play boating, creek boating, and even stand-up boarding. They're awesome. Check them out at SperryTopsiders.com.
Welcome back to this month's issue of Shot of the Month. Again, it was another close competition out there, and coming in second was Cheryl Kilman's shot of Wesley Bradley on Bald River Falls. Nice job, guys, but it was just beat out by Sage Donnelly's shot of Graduation Falls in San Marcos, Texas. So make sure to send in your best shots for next month's issue, and hopefully you guys can be Shot of the Month.
My name is Heather Herbeck. I'm from the Columbia River Gorge, where, as you can see, it's still winter. From a small town called BZ Corners, where the beautiful White Salmon River flows. So before I met my husband Nate, I had no idea what the sport of whitewater kayaking was. I was more into just traditional sports, basketball, track, volleyball. But then when I met Nate and I saw him go down the rivers in Minnesota, I thought the sport looked just adventurous and fun. So Nate and his dad taught me how, and we've been kayaking ever since. Not only was the enjoyment and the fun of getting splashed in the face enough for me to continue in the sport of kayaking, but I also realized that there weren't a lot of women in the sport, so that in itself was a huge motivating factor to continue. But when I first started kayaking, it was mostly, you know, the guys and me. In my opinion, there's no difference between whether I run a drop or the boys run a drop. It just depends on skill level, not whether you're male or female, it's just whether or not you have the skills to run that drop. So some days I'll fire up you know, a challenging drop where my husband walks around, and other days I'll walk around and he runs it. It's basically how you feel that day and the skill level, and not whether you're a guy or a girl. More women getting into the extreme whitewater kayaking, and it's so nice to have other women out there on the rivers. Out of all the different types of kayaking out there, creeking and running waterfalls have become two of my favorite. A few reasons why I enjoy creeking so much is, one, it's a team sport. You depend on your team, and for me, the right people on the river is important. And another reason that I love creeking so much is the most beautiful places that it takes you, some of which you will be the only person to ever see. One of the most unique feelings about free falling, running a big waterfall, is that for a split moment in time, you just surrender, and it's more of a mental thing than anything, and it's the most incredible feeling. Whatever river I go to, my Villain S comes with. The Villain is one of my favorite boats that Jackson Kayak has. A few of the reasons why I love this boat so much is, one, it stays really high in the water, paddles over boily, surgy water very easily, and two, I found out that when I land a lot of rapids, I land on my higher edge, and the Villain keeps me stable when doing that with their higher edge. Thanks Jackson Kayak for supporting me over 6 years in this sport.
Well, that's the end of JKTV episode 4. I hope you liked it. Make sure to share it with all your friends on Facebook, and stay tuned for the next one with a spring update up on the Ottawa River in Canada. Gonna go kayaking now.